Now let's practice some of these together. Here's a coordinate plane, and we'll graph a line on it called line A. Now before doing any math, will this line have a positive or negative slope? Well, if you were to put a ball on this line and roll it from left to right, you can see the ball rolls uphill. It's moving up, so line A will have a positive slope. Now let's find the actual slope. Remember, we'll calculate it by looking for the change in y coordinate and dividing by the change in x coordinate. For line A, let's put one point here and the next point up here. What is the change in y between these 2 points? Well, you can measure that to move from the first point up to the second, you have to move up 2. The change in y is 2. Then we can divide by the change in x. What is the change in x between these 2 points? Well, you can measure that to move from the first point to the second point, you move over or plus 1. So we'll take 2 and divide by 1. What is the slope of line A? 2 divided by 1 equals 2. Let's look at one more, which is a special case. Here's a coordinate plane, and we'll graph a line, and we'll call it line B. Now, if you were to put a ball on this line and roll it from left to right, this ball neither moves up nor down. So let's see if we can figure out what its slope is. Well, for line B, we could put a point here and another point here. What is the change in y between these 2 points? Notice the y coordinate doesn't change at all, so the change is 0. And now we can measure what's the change in x between these 2 points. Well, to move from the first point to the second, we move over or plus 1, so the change in x is 1. Now what does 0 divided by 1 equal? 0 divided by 1 equals 0. This flat line has a slope of 0. Now it's time for you to practice on your own. Here's a coordinate plane where we'll graph line A. What is the slope of line A? Well, you could have picked any 2 points. We'll put one here and another one here. Remember, it's easier when they're on whole number coordinates. You can see that to get from one point to another, you move up 2, so the change in y is 2. Then you can see that you move over 1, so the change in x is 1. 2 divided by 1 tells us the slope of line A equals 2. Here's another. On this coordinate plane, we'll graph line B. What is the slope of line B? Well, if you picked any 2 points, let's put one here and another one here. You can see that to get from one point to the next, you have to move down 1, so the change in y is minus 1. Then you measure that to get from one point to the next, you move over to the right or plus 1, so we'll divide by positive 1. Negative 1 divided by positive 1 tells you the slope of line B equals negative 1. Here's your last one for today. On this coordinate plane, we'll graph a line and call it line C. What's the slope of line C? Well, remember to pick points that are on whole number coordinates. We could pick a point here and another one up here. Now you can measure that to get from one point to the other, you have to move up or positive 1. The change in y is 1. Then you can measure that you have to move over to the right or positive 3. So we'll divide by positive 3. 1 divided by 3 we can leave as a fraction. It'll just equal a slope of 1/3. So from today, remember, you can tell that slopes are positive if they go uphill and negative if they go downhill. And that slope is measured as the change in y divided by the change in x between 2 points.